I fell in love with the male lead on the very first day I woke up inside this book. It's a classic high school romance novel. The male and female leads are destined for a sugary sweet love story, and I'm just a background extra. I didn't try to change the plot. I just studied, like my life depended on it. I studied until my eyes bled just to get into the same AP classes as him. I studied until I clawed my way up the rankings to sit next to him. I studied until we both got into the same Ivy League university. In the end, the female lead showed up at my dorm, absolutely wasted, screaming at me for stealing her man. I scratched my head, genuinely confused. What did I even do? She was silent for a long time before she started sobbing and shrieking. You studied like a psychopath. Me. How on my first day in this world, I fell for Ethan Hayes. It wasn't love at first sight. It was a long-term obsession. Back when I was reading the book in the real world, I'd curl up under my blankets and scream about how perfect he was. The cold, aloof academic god. He hit every single one of my checkboxes. Seeing him in person? I didn't stand a chance. But the situation was different now. I wasn't a reader anymore. I was a stranger in his world. I could only watch from a distance as he and the female lead, Chloe, acted out their perfect romance. The sense of loss sat heavy in my chest, suffocating me. Back then, they weren't together yet. Plenty of brave girls confessed to Ethan. Without exception, he rejected them all with an icy politeness. I realized my crush had to be buried deep. I was just a nobody. Broken family, average looks, zero confidence. I didn't even get the standard transmigrated system or cheat codes. I had nothing. So, I turned my frustration into motivation. I studied. Hard. Partly because it's what you're supposed to do in high school. Mostly because of my own selfish desire.
I wanted to be closer to Ethan.
I didn't ask for much. Just being able to see him was enough. I became the girl who arrived at school first and left last, the one reading flashcards in the cafeteria line. During the sophomore year placement exams, I jumped 200 spots in the ranking and finally made it into the honors class, the same class as Ethan and Chloe. The first day I walked in, Chloe ran over immediately.
Maya?
Who are you looking for? In the original book, I was a slacker. I was Chloe's plastic friend, gossiping with her by day, jealous of her shine by night. I was too busy being a hater to study. That's why she assumed I was lost. I tested into this class, I explained. Huh. She froze, then ran to the podium to check the roster. She came back, looking me up and down.
Wow.
That's a huge improvement. I smiled shyly and took my seat. Ethan sat on the other side of the room. I pretended to look out the window, stealing a glance at him from the corner of my eye. Chloe seemed to be telling him about me. He didn't look interested, but he did glance my way. I held my breath, forcibly shifting my gaze to my notebook. Close one. Almost made eye contact. The atmosphere in the honors class was different. Here I wasn't a freak. Everyone studied during breaks. Everyone formed groups to discuss calculus problems. I stabilized my grades, ranking near the top. I followed Ethan and Chloe to the same prestigious high school. Based on entrance exam scores, I barely scraped into the same homeroom as Ethan. He was number 1. I was third from the bottom. Chloe, however, fell into a regular class. The author separated them to create drama. Chloe would meet the second male lead, Jax, in her new class, sparking jealousy and angst. None of that concerned me. I just studied. For 2 years, Ethan and I had zero interaction, aside from being classmates. We were the kind of people who passed each other in the hall without even nodding. He genuinely didn't care. I was faking it. My heart would hammer against my ribs every time I saw him, but I kept my face paralyzed. Good job, Maya, I told myself. Since I was buried in books, my fake friendship with Chloe faded. By the time middle school ended, she'd basically forgotten me. But in high school, she suddenly became friendly again. She said I was studying myself into an early grave and needed to relax. Once, she invited me to hang out with her and Ethan. Did I want to go?
No.
I'd rather do practice sets. But she insisted. I figured I could just watch them and review my wrong answers in my head. When we got to the location, my brain short-circuited. It was the theme park. According to the plot, this was where they would have their first kiss. It was the start of their official relationship. My mind was a mess. I don't remember what I ate or did. When night fell, the park lit up with dreamlike lights. Chloe dragged Ethan to watch the fireworks. I trailed 20 paces behind, getting jostled by the crowd. Under the exploding fireworks, they confessed. Chloe stood on her tiptoes and shyly kissed Ethan. It was too beautiful. I couldn't watch. I looked down in panic, tears falling onto my vocabulary cards. I fled. I texted Chloe a lie about my curfew and ran. She didn't reply. They had already forgotten me. While they held hands, young and resolute, I, the third wheel, ran home wiping my eyes. In my empty house, I broke down and sobbed.
I'm sorry.
I really couldn't pretend anymore. But even while gasping for air, I pulled out a workbook and forced myself to solve equations. Unrequited love is torture, especially when you have nothing else. My only advantage was that I had lived a life before. I knew education was power, and I knew not to destroy myself over a love that had no future. Ethan and Chloe were officially a couple. They were starting their decade-long romance saga. Sure, they would fight, break up, and make up. But the book said, Ethan never stopped loving Chloe, and Chloe's heart always belonged to Ethan. A beautiful sentence for them. A sentence of execution for me. I wasn't the only one suffering. Jax, the bad boy's second lead, was losing his mind. After the leads got together, Jax would cause all sorts of trouble because he couldn't have Chloe. Originally, I was supposed to be his henchman in causing drama. But honestly, I was more worried about my midterm grades. When the teacher beamed and told me I ranked second in the grade, I finally felt a little better. From bottom of the class to second place. My effort wasn't wasted. Seating was assigned by rank. Ethan was immovable at number 1. I was assigned the seat right next to him. Desk mates. In any other romance novel, this is where the magic happens. In reality, nothing happened. We sat inches apart, but we didn't speak for days. He was naturally cold. I was terrified of exposing my feelings. The only sentence he spoke to me was, "Mara, your water bottle is leaking." I wiped up the water and couldn't help correcting him. My name is Maya.
Huh.
He didn't even know my name. We coexisted in silence until Chloe stormed in and started an argument with Ethan right in front of me. She asked why he didn't tell her he was sitting next to me. Ethan frowned, genuinely confused. Is that important? Since the start of the semester, he'd had several desk mates. But Chloe seemed specifically threatened by me. She looked at me, then at him, and ran off crying without saying another word. Maybe it was because I was someone she knew. Imagine your boyfriend sitting next to your ex-friend and not mentioning it. It probably felt like a betrayal. After lunch, I went to find Chloe to apologize. Chloe. I called her name, but she acted like I was invisible, laughing with her new friends. OMG, I watched that movie you mentioned. I almost died laughing. I stood there awkwardly for 2 seconds and decided not to push my luck. I barely knew Chloe anymore. Bringing up the seating chart would just make it weird. As for Ethan, he and I were truly strangers. He would explain it to her. Thinking about drama was exhausting. I stopped caring. 2 days later, someone blocked my path on the way home. You're Maya, right? It was Jax. I had my headphones in listening to an English lecture, so I didn't hear him at first. I walked right past him. He jumped in front of me, furious, and yanked my headphones off. I frowned. Can I help you? My face probably looked like stone. Jax faltered for a second before finding his tough guy expression. Listen to me, he snarled. I don't like Ethan, but I will not allow you to hurt Chloe or ruin their relationship. What a weird thing to say. I processed it for a moment. How am I ruining their relationship? Stop acting. You're shameless. Jax crossed his arms. You're the one seducing Ethan, aren't you? Humph. You've got guts, but you can't compare to a single hair on Chloe's head.
Me?
Seducing Ethan? How did I miss such a major life event? Do you have evidence?
I asked.
Of course, he said self-righteously. The evidence is that you're sitting next to him. Do you not know seats are assigned by GPA? I thought for a second. Oh, you mean I should fail my exams on purpose so I don't have to sit next to him? Exactly. Jack smiled, satisfied that I understood. Usually I ignore people like him. But he was rude, speaking nonsense, and insulting my academic integrity. That's my red line. Unfortunately, I sneered. I'm not like you. I didn't buy my way into this school. I don't treat my education like a joke. Jax was a rich kid, forced in by his parents. He believed money could solve everything. He had the capital to play games with life. I didn't. Sitting next to Ethan was nice. But even if he wasn't there, I deserved that seat. I deserved to sit in his seat. Jax was enraged and threatened to make me pay. In the book, that was his character. Impulsive, but not evil. He was lashing out because he couldn't have the girl he loved. I didn't take him seriously. Until the next monthly exam. I was caught cheating. Midway through the math exam, I was dragged out. The proctor said they received an anonymous tip that I had brought notes in. Like a magician, he pulled a slip of translucent paper from my hoodie pocket. It was covered in microscopic text, formulas, and key concepts for the test. Maya, I thought you were an honest, hardworking student. How could you do this? This isn't just irresponsible to yourself. It brings shame to your family and this class. You came in with average grades and shot up to the top. Did you use these tricks back then, too? I stood in the faculty office. Teachers took turns lecturing me, heartbroken and angry. They questioned my character. They questioned my past achievements. I denied it, which only made them angrier. Denial meant no remorse. Punishment doubled. I replayed the morning. Before the exam, I left my hoodie on my chair to go to the bathroom. That's when someone must have slipped the note in and reported me. It had to be Jax or someone he hired. It was a low tactic but effective. Who cheats on a high school monthly exam with a physical note in 2024? I had no proof. I told them it was likely related to the person who reported me. They said they had to protect the whistleblower's identity. So I took the fall. A school-wide citation. Honors class student Maya, ID XXXX, caught cheating during monthly exams. The bold text scrolled across the LED board in the main lobby. Every student who walked in saw it. Naturally, I was ostracized. No one wanted to be in my group for projects. No one partnered with me in PE. During cleaning duty, I was assigned to sweep the outdoor grounds alone. Cheat sheet Maya, stay away from us. They made exaggerated faces of disgust. Luckily, I wasn't really 16. This framed me, but it couldn't break me. I endured it. When the results came out, my score was voided. I was moved to the corner of the classroom, the shame seat. A different girl took the seat next to Ethan. She was smart and openly liked him. She brought him water after basketball. She pretended to fall asleep on his shoulder during study hall. Chloe didn't care. She would just link arms with Ethan later, making the new girl cry. Jax didn't bully the new girl. He just leaned against the back door, watching me with glee.
He mouthed a single word at me. Deserved.
Reading the book, I never realized Jax was this childish. I was being isolated, and he was getting off on it. Did it actually affect me?
No.
I studied. I ate. In PE, when no one would partner with me, I snuck back to the classroom to finish a practice test. I finished the last calculus problem and realized someone was standing next to me.
It was Ethan.
I didn't know how long he'd been there.
He wasn't looking at me.
He was looking at my paper. He was holding a basketball under one arm. He must have come back to grab it. He stood so close. For me, it was close enough. I could smell the faint, clean scent of soap on him. For some reason, neither of us spoke. The classroom was silent. I could hear my own heartbeat. A wave of indescribable sadness washed over me. I didn't want to speak. I didn't want to move. I wanted time to freeze. But I was scared. I was scared that if this silence lasted another second, the atmosphere would become ambiguous. I broke the silence. What's wrong?
He paused.
You missed a step in the derivation. Which step?
Can you teach me?
That's what I should have said. There was an empty chair right next to me. If I asked, maybe he would sit down. Maybe he would explain the complex equation to me. Instead, I calmly picked up my phone and opened an app to scan the question.
Oh.
I'll just check Chegg. Okay. Ethan turned and left. I posted the question on the app, crying internally. My stupid mouth. I'm hopeless. Those 10 seconds alone with Ethan fueled me until finals. I scored higher than I ever had before. I was only 10 points behind Ethan. The cheating allegations fell apart. Since I had a criminal record, the teachers had searched me like I was entering a maximum security prison before the exam. The classmates looked at each other, confused. The homeroom teacher called me to the office. She said I still couldn't prove the cheat sheet wasn't mine, so the citation would stay. But I could give the speech at the school assembly as the student representative. Student representative? I blinked. Doesn't Ethan always do that? He came to me just now. He said he wanted to give the spot to you. The teacher smiled kindly. I know it's been hard for you. You can use this chance to say what you need to say.
I didn't hear the rest.
My mind was in orbit. When I got back to the classroom, Ethan was still there. The empty room was filled with the orange glow of the setting sun. He was packing his bag slowly. I arrived just as he was putting away his last book. Ethan. I rarely initiated a conversation with him. I clenched the hem of my shirt. The teacher said you wanted me to replace you as the student rep. I was just too lazy to write a speech. He looked down at me. And I thought, maybe you needed the opportunity. Ethan was cold to everyone except Chloe. Whether I cheated or not shouldn't matter to him. But I really wanted to know what he thought.
It mattered to me.
Do you believe I didn't cheat?
I asked.
Ethan zipped his bag. He walked past me toward the door, his voice quiet. I always believed you. Ethan left. I slumped against the wall, staring into space for a long time. I slowly pressed a hand to my chest. So this is what they mean by butterflies. At the assembly, I stood before the entire school and clarified the cheating incident. Originally, I wanted to keep a low profile, but thinking of Ethan, I straightened my spine. I put on my coldest, most arrogant expression and announced the person who framed me. I could feel hundreds of eyes on me, and I knew some eyes didn't dare meet mine, like Jack's. In the book, I felt bad for the second male lead. He was spoiled, but supposedly honorable. Now, I was on stage fighting for my dignity, and he was hiding in the crowd, eyes shifting guiltily. Coward. I mouthed the word at him with a sneer. As I finished my speech and turned to leave, Jack stepped out. Wait. He sprinted onto the stage, grabbed the mic, and shouted, Maya is right. She didn't cheat. I had someone put the note in her pocket. I reported her. He looked at the shocked student body, closed his eyes, and looked like he was walking the plank. Suspension, expulsion, whatever. Jack Sterling, accept the punishment. Jax admitted his guilt. His punishment was worse than mine because he framed another student. His dad, a business tycoon, rushed to the school and slapped him across the face in front of everyone. Then, red-faced, he apologized to me and insisted on compensating me financially. I didn't refuse. I said we were even, and I wouldn't pursue it further. Jax's dad sighed at my maturity, then dragged Jax by the ear to apologize to me again. Maya, I'm sorry. I was a jerk. Jax hung his head, his arrogance gone. Then he looked up, oddly defiant. But I'm not a coward.
Fine.
You're not. I patted his shoulder and walked out of the principal's office. Even though I forgave him, the school put him on probation. On the first day of the new semester, he came to school with a bruised face. He told me his dad beat him up again to make sure he remembered not to mess with me. I hummed a response doing my homework, ignoring him. He kept talking. You're actually crazy. Being framed like that and still keeping your cool to rank second. I suspect you're a robot. Like in the movies. The Owl girls. Smart, emotionless, don't talk much. I'm curious. Do you like anyone? I put down my pen. What do you think? Nope, you wouldn't like anyone, Jax said confidently. I smiled. Actually, I do. He's sitting right next to me. Ethan wasn't listening to our nonsense, he was deep in thought. He and Chloe had broken up over the summer break. In my memory of the book, their breakups never lasted more than 2 weeks. But this time, the Cold War had stretched from spring into late summer. The plot changed. I had a dangerous thought. I didn't know what happened, but they were really broken up. I thought about the sunset that day. Ethan said he believed me. Is it possible that in his heart, I am a tiny bit special? The thought haunted me. On the day of the homecoming assembly, the students were in the auditorium watching performances. I snuck back halfway, hiding around the corner of the hallway, and texted Ethan. Can you come to the classroom?
He didn't ask why.
A moment later, he replied, I'm here. My heart felt like it was going to explode. Suddenly, someone tapped my shoulder. I almost passed out. What are you doing? Sneaking around.
It was Jax.
None of your business. I didn't want to deal with him. I gathered my courage to go see Ethan. But then, I saw Chloe push open the classroom door. She threw herself into Ethan's arms. She asked him, Can we start over? Ethan was silent. He looked conflicted. But after a stalemate, he hugged her back. The rush of hot blood in my veins turned to ice. I had cried for Ethan many times in private. But now, I have lost control. My heart felt like it was being crushed. The pain was suffocating. I covered my face, shoulders shaking violently. I didn't even care that Jax was there. I was so arrogant. They are the main characters. They are destiny. Even if they part briefly, how could an extra like me ever have a chance? Ethan looks at me once, and I start fantasizing. How can someone be so stupid? I loathe myself. I raised my hand and slapped my own face. Maya, are you crazy? Jax grabbed my wrist. What is happening? Crying like this, hurting yourself.
He was frantic.
Then, he glanced through the window and saw the two people in the classroom. He understood instantly. Asterisk, you like him? Jax asked quietly. I choked on my sobs. Unable to speak, Jax's expression suddenly turned devastatingly sad. He pulled me into a hug. Stop crying. I'm here. I feel just as bad as you. The noise must have alerted the people inside. I heard Chloe gasp. I couldn't face them. I tried to burrow into Jax's jacket. Jax understood and held me tighter, shielding me. What's going on? Chloe asked. Jax, are you bullying her again? Let her go. Why would I? Jax forced a casual tone. We're together now. Maya is crying tears of joy. What? Chloe's voice cracked. You told me you hated her. You said you were going to teach her a lesson. That was ages ago, Jax said. I was blind back then. I didn't realize Maya is such a great girl. She's pretty, she's smart. She's exactly my type. Chloe bit her lip, wanting to say more, but Jax cut her off. Are you guys leaving? My girlfriend is getting shy.
Fine.
Let's go. Chloe pulled Ethan to leave. But Ethan didn't move. Maya. His voice was hoarse. You were looking for me. Why? Can't you see she's upset? Ask later, Jax snapped. Ethan was persistent.
Maya.
Tell me now. It's nothing. I forced the words out. The teacher needs our forms. I couldn't go through your desk, so I wanted you to get them.
Now.
Just before school ends is fine. I wanted to beg him to stop talking. Thankfully, he didn't push. I listened to their footsteps fade away before I looked up. Thanks, I said. No problem. Jax took me to his classroom and tossed me a pack of tissues. I really couldn't tell you liked Ethan. He sat on a desk, watching me wipe my eyes. I've liked him for 3 years. Nothing to hide anymore. We really are in the same boat. Jax sighed. I chase Chloe, you like Ethan. And they end up together.
Yeah.
How about? Jax blinked. We actually date? For real? I shook my head calmly. He looked offended.
Why?
You cry your eyes out for Ethan, but for me, it's back to the ice face. Forget it. He didn't seem surprised. He just muttered. Fine. Reject me. You reject yours, I'll chase mine. Jax discovered my secret. Maybe he found it funny, or maybe he felt a kinship with a fellow loser in love. He actually started chasing me. He was like gum stuck to my shoe. He kept repeating one line. I won't give up. Just give up, I thought, massaging my temples. I already gave up. After Ethan and Chloe got back together, I completely severed my hope. Jax would occasionally commandeer the empty desk across the aisle, silently watching me solve problems. Aren't you guys dating? Chloe nudged Jax with her elbow. Doesn't look like it. She ignores you. Oh, she changed her mind. She doesn't want to date me anymore. Jax yawned. Doesn't matter. As long as I like her. Something about that sentence triggered Chloe. She stood up abruptly and yelled, Jax, you're a psycho. She stormed off. From that day on, Chloe started studying like a maniac. She arrived earlier than I and left later. I don't know if her grades improved, but she looked worse every day. By senior year, the pressure skyrocketed. Once, during evening study hall, I found her in a corner of the hallway memorizing history facts. She stressed herself out so much that she ran to the bathroom to dry heave. I followed her in to check on her. She slammed the stall door and told me to get out, sobbing. Her mental state was crumbling. I was terrified she'd hurt herself, so I called Ethan. Hello.
Wow.
His voice sounded even weaker than hers. Are you okay? I was scared now. Yeah, he answered softly. Maya, can you come over? Where? My apartment. I pinched my thigh to check if I was dreaming. Ethan sent me the location and passcode. Then, a crash from the other end. Like the phone dropped. No matter how I called his name, he didn't answer. I froze for a second, then turned to tell Chloe. But Chloe was gone. She wasn't in the building, and she had blocked my number. Is the world crazy, or am I crazy? I felt an inexplicable panic. I went back to class and did half a worksheet, but I couldn't focus. I grabbed my coat and ran to Ethan's place. His parents were often abroad, so they bought him a condo near the school. The apartment was dark. Only a faint light came from the bathroom. Ethan? I called out cautiously. No answer. I pulled open the bathroom door. My eyes widened in horror. Ethan was lying in the bathtub. There was blood everywhere. His wrists were slashed deep. Blood was flowing out. He lifted his heavy eyelids. Maya. This is a sweet romance novel. How can there be such a dark plot twist? I forced myself to stay calm.
Wait.
I'm calling 911. He reached out with a bloody hand and grabbed me. Maya. I was afraid of hurting him, so I didn't pull away. I sat down next to him. Ethan, I don't know what happened, but let's go to the hospital, okay? I won't die. Ethan curved his lips. His usually cold face looked terrifyingly beautiful against the red blood. I just wanted to confirm something. Seems like I failed, though. He smiled helplessly. He wanted to say more, but closed his eyes in pain. Finally, he pulled me closer. He kissed me gently on the forehead. Suddenly, the world spun. When I came to, I was in my own bed. I stared at the ceiling, dazed for a long time. I checked my phone. Called Ethan. No answer. Checked Chloe's chat. Still blocked. I called in sick, intending to go back to Ethan's apartment, but a splitting headache stopped me. My consciousness blurred. I was woken up in the afternoon by Jax calling. You sick? Need me to come over? I rubbed my temples. Ethan. Sick and still thinking about him? Jax scoffed. He and Chloe are fine. I just saw them holding hands on a walk. Ethan is at school? I gasped. Where else would he be? He's not sick. Jax replied. What the hell? Was I dreaming? But it felt so real. I even pinched my thigh. The next day at school, I had to admit I must have hallucinated. Ethan was fine. He looked at me like a stranger again. Except for Chloe still studying as her life depended on it, everything else must have been a dream. I felt loss but also relief. Loss because the kiss was fake. Relief because Ethan was okay. I could focus on studying. The rest of the days flew by. Graduation came. Ethan and I performed as expected, getting into the same top-tier university from the book. Chloe bombed her exams. She ended up going to the same mid-tier college as Jax. But she was optimistic. She asked Jax if he wanted to study abroad with her. The plot was veering off into weird directions, but at least I wasn't forced to watch them be a couple every day. The story belonged to them.
I was just a passerby.
Happy graduation, I told myself. In college, I rarely saw Ethan. I heard about him more from others. I didn't feel much. I thought I had moved on. Junior year, Chloe and Jax really did go abroad together. Jax said they were just travel buddies. He texted me every day, reporting his itinerary. It was annoying. I muted him. A few quiet days later, I got an international call from him. Don't overthink it. My heart is yours, no matter what, he said. It doesn't have to be, I replied. Honestly, he sighed. Someone just confessed to me. Maya, if I get with someone else, would you really not care? I admit I kind of like her. I wish you happiness, I said sincerely. He choked for a moment, then gritted his teeth. I told you I wouldn't give up on you. I'm going to reject her right now. Not necessary. I wanted to say it, but he hung up. I could hear the conflict in his voice. He probably really liked that girl. I never thought Jax liked me that much. At first, it was commiseration between rejects. Later, maybe just habit. I tried to call back to persuade him, but it didn't go through. I figured I'd try again later. Before I could call Jax, Chloe flew back from abroad to find me. She was drunk, reeking of alcohol. As soon as she saw me, she stumbled over and screamed, Maya, why did you steal my man? I was shocked. She knew I liked Ethan. But the line of girls who liked Ethan could wrap around the block. A silent crush shouldn't count as stealing, right? I was confused. What did I do? She went silent. A long time later, she shrieked through tears. You studied like a psychopath. He said, he likes girls who are pretty and have good grades. Okay then. I don't argue with drunks. I tried to send her back to a hotel, but she clung to me like an octopus. I had no choice. I called her boyfriend for help. Ethan and I took her to a hotel. The whole way, she was babbling about me stealing her man. I didn't dare look at Ethan. After settling Chloe down, Ethan asked me, what did she mean stealing her man? I wanted to bluff my way out, but Chloe knew, which meant I couldn't hide it from Ethan anymore. Screw it. It's ancient history, anyway. It means I liked you. You liked me? Ethan froze.
Yeah.
Since I first met you. I didn't expect to say it so easily after years of hiding it. But that's all in the past. Now Chloe knows, and she's upset. Since you guys are the couple. Ethan looked at the unconscious Chloe. We broke up 3 years ago. She said she fell in love with Jax. Wait. She came to find me because of Jax? I remember Jax's phone call. The person who confessed to him was Chloe. I misunderstood. I stammered. Pretend I didn't say anything. Ethan wouldn't let me go.
Maya.
Did you really like me?
Yes.
How many times do I have to say it? I did. I tried to look carefree, smiling as I asked back, what about you? Did you ever like me? I thought Ethan would ignore me. I didn't expect him to answer. I don't know. His expression was serious. What I'm about to say might sound crazy, but I think you'll understand. Chloe and I, from the beginning, were pushed along a set track. Who we meet, who we love, it felt pre-programmed. I understood perfectly. Seeing I wasn't shocked, he continued. Sometimes I feel like I don't have my own thoughts or consciousness. So, I don't know if I liked you. But, he lowered his eyes. Do you remember the first time we were desk mates? I called you by the wrong name. I called you Mara. That was on purpose. He whispered, I knew your name was Maya. But I thought if I got your name wrong, maybe you'd say one extra sentence to me. That is liking someone. Idiot. If that's not liking someone, what is it? When I took his hand, I could clearly feel the world collapsing. The rules were broken. This was a novel. The romance between the main characters was strictly controlled. They went through countless cycles, vaguely becoming aware of the world's anomaly. As a transmigrator, if I interfered directly, I would be suppressed. But I just buried my head and studied. I didn't participate in the plot. Yet, like a butterfly flapping its wings, I became a hidden variable. As the protagonists, they felt it intensely. Chloe was disturbed by the unseen changes, becoming insecure. Only after Jax started chasing me did she realize she truly loved Jax, finally breaking free from the control. As for Ethan, I wasn't imagining things. He really liked me. He just didn't understand what it was. He woke up briefly once. That time in the bathroom. He hurt himself, trying to shatter the rules completely. But he failed. After the reset, he forgot that he liked me. But the rules were loosening. Chloe's awakening made the world unstable. Now, it finally couldn't hold up anymore. I hid in Ethan's arms, feeling the world reset. Who knew the catalyst for everything was just me studying my butt off? If you ask me for a quote, I have only 3 words. Knowledge is power. I looked up from Ethan's arms. There was a warm smile in his eyes. I'll ask, you answer. I said, when I was ostracized, you ran into the classroom during PE to watch me do math problems. Why? Because I like you. You told the teacher to let me give the speech, and stayed in the classroom saying you believed I didn't cheat. Why? Because I like you. You saw me hugging Jax and refused to leave. Why? Because I like you. He kissed the corner of my lips gently. I have always liked you. The end.